What is up, you beautiful happy hustlers out there? Kerry Jack here, and I hope you are crushing the day, baby. I mean, just enjoying every single moment, but especially this one right here and right now. And in this episode of the Happy Hustle podcast, we have on Mr. Mark Dhamma, who since 2008 was a entrepreneur. What is up, you beautiful happy hustlers out there? Kerry Jack here, and I hope you are crushing the day. Now, in this episode of the Happy Hustle podcast, we have on Mr. Mark Dhamma, MA, who has helped thousands of entrepreneurs achieve greater well-being and results. And Mark Dhamma is a great friend of mine. He's also been a part of one of my masterminds for a long time, and he really is a happy hustler. And through his education in sports science, he earned a master's degree in positive psychology, and his experiences operating businesses since 2006, he has uniquely positioned himself to coach entrepreneurs to actually reach their peak performance. Mark is the founder and co-creator of the Supercharged System, the most comprehensive productivity and well-being system for entrepreneurs in the world. Now, through the Supercharged System, he helps entrepreneurs around the globe transform their productivity so that they can grow their business with much more free time and ease. And you guys are going to love Mark's vibe. He's the man. He came on my Montana Mastermind Epic Camping Adventure as well recently, and we just had a great time. He's one of the most balanced humans that I know in regards to both the masculine and the feminine energy. He's, a big dude at like 6'4", like 230, just jacked, but he's also super kind and compassionate and caring and just a really awesome dude. I know you guys are going to get a ton of value from this one. So when you do, check him out, check his website out. We'll have it all linked up in the show notes. Now, after a quick message from this episode's sponsor, let's dive into this episode of the Happy Hustle Podcast. Real quick, guys, I just want to give a big shout out to Newtopia, who is making the best brain optimizing supplements on the market, baby. These are super awesome nootropics, and I have one right here. It's called the Zamner Juice. 2 squirts in my mouth right before I record. This has rapid neurotransmitter stimulation. And, really what's in this thing, I can, share the description on the website, but it's all a bunch of natural properties derived to really help give you that boost, optimize that cognitive performance. And they have a world domination box that has 9 different proprietary blends, and they're good for all different occasions. So it depends on what you need it for. You guys get the hookup. Go to newtopia.com/happy hustle, saves yourself some money and get your brain optimizing goods. Now let's get back to this episode. All right, Mark Dhamma, welcome to the Happy Hustle Podcast, my brother. I am super excited to connect.
Thank you, Kerry. I'm excited to connect too. I don't know how I'm going to get. I'm extremely excited that you just showed me your new book, though. Yeah. That's what I'm really, really excited about right now because, I witnessed it when you first had the idea, when the concept came out and you was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And I saw you grind on that thing in the early days, grind it out when it was just an idea and it was just it was just a hustle to like try and get it together, figure it out. And we had a Google Doc going, reviewing the and like to finally see it actually come together in the physical book is really exciting for me and just really incredible. I'm like, it's like literally made my day to see you hold.
Oh, thank you, brother. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you, man. And for those of you who don't know, so Mark and I have been bros for years, and we've been in a mastermind together for years, and we've held each other accountable and pushed each other and, didn't allow each other to use BS excuses. And so he has been on the forefront of this book. And you also came to the Montana Mastermind Epic Camping Adventure recently in Montana. And we, broed out in the wilderness for 5 days. And, so there's definitely, it means a lot coming from you because you have seen it from the beginning, and so it's super cool. But I am excited to share your gifts with the happy hustlers out there today. And you're a happy hustling entrepreneur. You're the founder of Supercharged Entrepreneurs, and You have a couple different businesses, but I'm really excited to talk about productivity today and just optimizing our time and the use of it. And I think the happy hustlers out there can totally get behind decreasing the time they are working in order to enjoy more of their time elsewhere, doing passion hobbies, having fun, but not sacrificing your productivity in the process. And I know that's what you're, big on and an expert at. But before we get into all that good stuff, Mark, what's something interesting about yourself that not too many people know?
Something interesting about myself that not too many other people know. I used to be a fitness model in England, in the UK. I think you know that. Yeah, I shared
I
that
know
on the
that,
Montana.
but that's a good one. Yep.
Yeah, and the Montana Mastermind, and we've done some modeling together, actually, haven't we?
Yeah. That sounds weird, but it was for Cadillac, for the record, with our partners.
Yeah, with our clothes on. So
yeah, our clothes were on.
Yeah, I used to be a fitness model in the UK, so there's that. I got a pretty serious meditation game. I'm usually doing that as well, Kerry. But yeah, I usually do about 1 to 2 hours a day of meditation.
Yep. Those are great facts. I mean, the fitness model fact for sure. If people see you with your shirt off, they would instantly know that fact is true. And then the meditation one, I know firsthand, because here's just a little fun story for all the happy hustlers. We're in the backcountry wilderness, and Mark wanted to lead a hour-long meditation for everyone. And I came up to him quietly. I said, "Hey, Mark, does it have to be an hour? Could we do it in 30, you think?" He goes, "No, Kerry, it's an hour." And I said, okay, fine. So I get in it. I'm like, all right, I'm sitting down doing the hour meditation. We get started. My mind starts wandering. I nudge me, "Hey, Mark, does it have to be an hour?" "Yes, Kerry, it's an hour. It's an hour meditation, and you're staying the whole time." So, an hour goes by. My mind's all over. I'm wondering. Mark's in the zone, leading us through this. It was amazing meditation. I'm glad I stuck around, but it was so funny. He's so adamant on the time frame. It wouldn't let me out, and that's the sign of a good friend, though. Someone who doesn't let you cave easy. So that's a fun fact for everyone. Good times. So, Mark, let's talk about supercharged entrepreneurs. I always like to kick things off with a bang. Tell us the premise behind starting this company, and a little bit about who's it actually for.
Yeah. So a little bit of background of this company, Supercharged Entrepreneurs. So back in when I finished college, gosh, many years ago now. I can't even know how long it was. I think I graduated in 2006 or something. So I graduated with sports science and physiology. And so that's that 15 years ago. And coming out, I really didn't know what to do. I was very interested in physical performance. I actually wanted to be a professional rugby player. So I got into what I was studying at college, just, like a little side degree while I focused on rugby.
Yeah, you were really good. I remember.
Yeah, I was good. I got injured, so whatever.
That happens in rugby.
That happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I was like, what should I do? And really into high performance, physical, improve, sports science, optimizing. So everyone was telling me I should be a personal trainer, and I was kind of resistant to it. I didn't think it was a great job, personal trainer, but I was all right, fine. I don't know what else I'll do. I'll be a personal trainer. Started training people, and then shortly after that, I created a Facebook group, and I was giving fitness tips, and I started to attract an entrepreneur audience. I wasn't trying to. They just was asking me for programs and designs. I guess because I was charging quite high prices, and they were just attracted to it, and it was very much a custom program, custom nutrition, and they were interested. So that was in 2008. I started working with entrepreneurs to create fitness plans. Then as time went by, I realized, they really needed more of a robust wellness plan, not just how to train, how to eat, but things like sleep. Are you getting enough sleep? So over time, I decided to turn my focus to seeing entrepreneurs as the athlete. So in the past, it was soccer players, rugby players. And then I started to look at, well, entrepreneurs are a kind of athlete. They're a decision-making athlete.
Yeah, true.
You're going to make lots of decisions, right? And if you're making a lot of great decisions, then you're more likely to have a successful company. If you're making a lot of poor decisions, then you're more than likely going to be out of business. So that's what entrepreneurs are always having to do, make decisions. So I started, implementing sports science towards entrepreneurs. I went down to London. I was working with a lot of entrepreneurs in London. And then in 2012, I moved out to the States because I wanted to get a master's degree in a positive organizational psychology. And that's all about like optimal mental performance within a company and with an organization. So I had my background in optimal physical performance combined with optimal psychological performance, and then started working with entrepreneurs on that. And at first it was very, very custom, just one-on-one with, with the entrepreneurs. So I worked with people, in the past I've worked with people like Ty Lopez, worked with Sam Ovens before.
Yeah, big names. I remember.
Yeah, I've worked with other people, like some other people may not have heard of, like Jeremy Haynes. And I've worked with well-known people and not well-known people, right? And, from as young as early 20s to, 50 and 50s as well. We're working with people. And I've worked with people, with revenue less than 200,000 to some of them, one of them is revenue 100 million, and so I've had a broad spectrum of people. And then a couple of years ago, I decided to just really focus on working less and earning more. Because I mean, you're great at it, Kerry. I mean, I got to speak to you about this. You've got this down. You got this down. I decided to like niche down. Like, if we can improve your performance by focusing on the important things, outsourcing the less important things, getting your diet right, getting your sleep right, getting your energy right, so that you can, very much like an athlete, work hard for a short period of time, get your workout in, get your work done in a short period of time, and then rest and recover and do what you enjoy the rest of the time. So now we've got a company called Supercharged Entrepreneurs, and we help entrepreneurs who are working 50 plus hours a week knock 20 hours or more off the schedule, while increasing the revenue in less than 90 days. So we have a coaching program, an online program, and also coaches, real people coaches that help facilitate the entrepreneur through the program. So basically accountability and, help so that the entrepreneur actually does it.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, and it's an awesome journey just to hear how you've combined your sports science, degree with your own personal experience in that, like high performance athlete world of playing rugby at this, supreme level, with also then the psychological component and the cognitive performance aspect. And I think having both is imperative, especially in the entrepreneurship game. We are decision-making athletes. I love how you put that. And, I really like the premise of working less and earning more. And so I want to stay here for a sec and really explore that deeper. How can entrepreneurs out there work less and earn more?
Yeah, so the first step is there's a few steps. So I always like to open this up with Peter Drucker, one of the famous management consultants. He would say that, effectiveness is different than efficiency. Efficiency is getting a lot of things done fast and a timely manner, and effectiveness is focusing on getting the most important things done.
Yeah.
So one of the first steps in entrepreneur is getting them more productive or effective, is figuring out, well, what are the things that are bringing in the big money? So there's a book called 80-20 Sales and Marketing by Perry Marshall. Great book. And he breaks it down into like $10,000 an hour task, $1,000 an hour task. There's $100 an hour task. There's $10 an hour task. So $10 an hour task, running errands, making little tweaks to your website, just minor things that you could hire someone, outsource it, someone maybe not in the US for $10 an hour anymore, but you could, in Bangladesh or India or Philippines, wherever, $10 an hour jobs. Then there's $100 an hour jobs, which might be writing an email to your list. You could pay someone less than $100 an hour to write an email to your list. So it'll generate money, which is great, but you could pay someone less than $100 an hour to do that.
Yeah.
Then there's $1,000 an hour tasks, and these might be things that only you can do, or it's very expensive to bring someone else in. So it might be creating new funnels. Okay, it might be building a book funnel, for example, or like strategizing it. Creating new marketing tests. Could be, if you're the host of a podcast and you're making money for your podcast, you've got sponsorships or whatever. Might be reaching out to new sponsors or doing the podcast. And then there's $10,000 an hour tasks, which could be like speaking to selling to large groups. Maybe you're doing a live webinar where you make sales, you could make well over $10,000 an hour. You could be on stage doing it. Maybe you're negotiating major deals.
Yeah.
So we can really, these are like good rough guidelines to break down how your time is spent. And then, we can get into more detail, but it's essentially outsourcing the $100 an hour and less stuff, or just deleting them, getting rid of them. And you can do that with SOPs, and then focusing your time on the $10,000 and $1,000 an hour tasks. And everybody knows what they should be doing, but they just can't find time for it,
Yeah.
So what we do is we help them create the standard operating procedures so they can offload these smaller tasks, and help them get really, really clear on how to get the big checks and where to start focusing the time. So just to add on to that, actually, I'll share with you the first 2 steps we do at Supercharge with our entrepreneurs, which is like a great place to start. The first one is we ask the entrepreneur the question, what's one thing in your life that you're doing right now that's either draining your energy, you feel is wasting your time, or you just don't want to be doing anymore? And I'll ask that for you, Carey, since we're here.
Put me on the spot. One thing that's draining my energy that I don't want to be doing anymore. This podcast with Mark comes to mind. No, I'm kidding. No, I love that. But I love the podcast. Honestly, man, I got rid of so many things that I don't want to be doing. Like I really say no to so many things that it's hard for me to think about that. I really am intentional with what I fill my calendar with. One thing, but I want to give you something because it's important to think about. There is a portion of my affiliate business that I'm spending too much time on. I've noticed it's only 2 days a week, and it's only for 4 hours on Monday and Friday, which is very little, block, like to net me usually somewhere between 5 and 12 G's a month for those 2 days per week. But it's still too much time, so I'm dropping down to 1 day, of like focus on this affiliate. But I need to. That's one thing that like I noticed that I need to pivot, just to take back more time, so then I can allocate it elsewhere. So that's one thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great example. It would be something like that. So you start off by asking the entrepreneur that. So I mentioned to you that I was on my friend Daniel DiPiazza's podcast yesterday, and I asked the same question to him, and he said there's some admin stuff with the podcast that he's doing, and he could probably outsource it out for $10 an hour to do it, and it's not a lot of time, but it's just a little bit tedious, and so on.
Yeah.
So there's things like that I hear all the time for entrepreneurs, and there's things like social media. I'm just on social media too much. They're on social media too much. That takes up too much time, or they're wasting time. There's then there's other things I hear pretty often, like drinking too much alcohol at night, or like smoking weed, or watching porn. There's a lot of distractions out there, right? And they're like, I spend so much time on this stuff, and it's getting me distracted. So we like to first help the entrepreneur get clear on like, what's the lowest hanging fruit? What's the one thing that you already know you need to get rid of? And let's get rid of that. And the reason why we do that is because, I like to use the analogy of car racing. Like if you have a car and you want it to go faster, the fastest and easiest way to get a car to go faster isn't by changing the engine. It's by ripping out the extra weight, getting rid of the extra weight, removal. You get performance by removing things. So let's remove the stuff that's, stopping you from performing at your best at first. So that's the step one.
Yeah.
And then
I love that.
Yeah. And then step two is starting to track your time, to start getting data on, well, where do you actually spend your time?
Yep. That's one thing I was going to bring up. I'm glad you did, because although I hate, and I mean, I don't even like to use that word, but like sitting down and writing every 15 minutes out, like tracking your time. I'm sure some of the happy hustlers have done this exercise. If you haven't, maybe Mark, you can discuss just like the best way to track your time and like for what duration. But that's something that really helps you identify where you may be wasting your precious time, aka your most precious commodity, and where then you can figure out how you can either outsource it or eliminate it or delegate it, or automate it, right? That task. Absolutely. So maybe for the happy hustlers listening, what do you recommend when it comes to tracking your time?
Yeah, good question. So personally, I like to use this little app called Harvest. It's just an app, and on the desktop. You can get it on your phone as well, and you can just add what you're up to, what you're doing, track it and turn it on when you're on, off when you're off, during work hours. And I like to actually, all the things I'm doing, I like to assign $1 an hour amount to it. So if I'm just looking at my Harvest app right now, and I actually haven't put all my hours in. Looking at this today, I got to go back and put it in. But I look, and I spent 12 minutes managing pay-per-click campaigns on like Facebook ads, and that's $100 an hour task. I can get someone else pay them less than $100 an hour task to manage that. But I found myself in there just clicking around, managing those tasks. So I like Harvest. There's another app called Rescue Time. There's another one called Toggle. There's a ton of them. What I found with clients is some like to use apps, some like to just write it down, like you said. Some just prefer to do it that way. So it's whatever ways you're going to do it, do that.
What's the duration that you recommend before assessing your time tracking, performance? What do you recommend? Like 3 days? Do you recommend 7, 2 weeks?
Yeah, that's a good question. I like to say a minimum a week, because you might be doing different things on different days, right? You just mentioned that you do your affiliate thing on a Monday and a Friday. So if we just track 3 days, we might not. If we track Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we wouldn't capture that. So a week is good for minimum. A couple of weeks is great. The longer the better, but a minimum of 7 days, you can look back and be like, all right, how did I actually spend my time these last 7 days?
Yeah, I think that's a good benchmark as well, the 7-day mark, and then do a full audit on your time and really be honest with yourself. This is something I could benefit now talking about it, just coming up in the new year. A lot of these things that Mark's talking about are really nice to start in the beginning of a new year, to start with really healthy habits, increasing productivity, decreasing time spent, and then also increasing revenue in the process, being just more intentional with your time, figuring out what your time is actually worth and where it can be best spent, one of the things that I write down in my journal every morning is my key three performance tasks. If I get nothing else done today but just these three things, it'll be a win. And when I'm clear on those three things, then okay, I get those done early and everything else is gravy. And so sometimes too, those aren't a direct, there's no direct ROI, like even this podcast right now, right? This was one of my key threes. I had a couple episodes to record today. I knew I wanted to crush them, add a ton of value to the Happy Hustlers, connect with awesome, people like Mark. And this is one of my key three, although the ROI is not direct time spent like this. I'm not technically getting paid from this time spent right after I'm done. There's no like Stripe ding that says, oh, Mark just paid you $1,500 for your hour. Although JLD does sell assets, so that is possible in the future. But it does, like, I have sponsors who pay the bills. I have, affiliates and also my own offers that the podcast all encapsulates. And so the work is compensated for. You have to just determine for you out there listening, what is the most, valuable use of your time. And that's just a great reminder, Mark. I love that you went there. Let's talk about just being free of suffering, stress, anxiety, sadness. Like, as an entrepreneur, sometimes we can get our head down. We can just get caught up in the grind. And, I'm really now more than ever combating the epidemic of entrepreneurial burnout, because I do believe it's an epidemic. Like, sure, we got this pandemic with this man-made virus, but whatever you think about that, that's on you. What I do know to be fact is there's this glorified entrepreneurial burnout grind culture that is something I fell victim to. And I burn out, for profit and success. Mark, you can resonate, And so I want to hear about how, you combat suffering and stress and anxiety, and how you recommend the other Happy Hustlers do so.
Yeah, thanks for bringing this up. So, my whole business, Supercharge Entrepreneurs, is about that, right? Like, how to reduce your work, make more money, and we actually have in our program, a big part of it is how you rest and recover. Okay, and like I mentioned earlier, I think it's really important that we do see ourselves as athletes. And you and I both love soccer, Kerry.
Oh yeah.
And you don't have soccer players playing a game every single day, full out, maximum every day, or training at the max every day and then playing the next day. It just doesn't work like that, even because we're not built for that. We're built to work hard, rest, and play hard, and then recover, work hard again. So there's a lot to unpack there about like some of the tech tools and techniques you can use as an entrepreneur to recover and recharge. Mm-hmm. But before we get into that, I would really love to talk about the psychological aspect of the epidemic, and like how it comes about and how do we identify it in ourselves. It's epidemic of burnout, and it's really comes from our culture, right? Mm-hmm. We see people like Elon Musk, and I love Elon Musk. I'm a customer of Elon's.
Yeah, I think he's great. A sick Tesla.
Yeah. Like I love him. And we see people.
Me too.
Like,
I ordered the truck. I can't wait.
Oh, you did? Oh, sweet, cool, cool.
But yeah, you're right. He's a great example.
Yeah, a great example, right? He's like doesn't seem to ever stop working. He's like always working, and he's richest man in the world. Him and Jeff. And like richest man in the world. Yeah, and Jeffrey. Hustling, working, doesn't ever stop. And then you've got, Gary V comes on the scene earlier, and he's like non-stop hustle. And it's really the American way. It's the American way to work, work, right? And, sure, like to get successful, you have to work. But it does, all of that stuff does come at a cost. It does. All of it does come at a cost, whether that's your health comes at a cost, or whether that's your relationships. I mean, divorces have got to be sky high. I bet if we look at 52%, I bet if we looked at entrepreneurs as a subgroup, it's got to be higher than that.
It's probably 98% of that 52% are entrepreneurs.
Yeah, it's got to be higher than that. It really has, you know, because with that type of mindset, which is celebrated in our culture, it's put work first. Work is number one. It's put work first. I think it comes from like the founders that came over, you know, they had a very big, strong work ethic, and it's needed. Like I'm not detracting from that. It's needed. But in this day and age, we got to decide for ourselves, like, well, what am I working for? Most people become entrepreneurs because you want time freedom and financial freedom. You're big on this, Carrie. Time freedom and financial freedom.
And creative freedom.
And creative freedom. And what can happen is that we end up just working nonstop, so we don't have time freedom. And, you know, it doesn't matter how much money we make, we're still trying to make more. It's not enough. And I've suffered from burnout in the past. I've been sick. I've been physically ill for a couple of years of just working too much, not sleeping enough, not eating great, just grinding. I've been in situations where it's damaged my relationship. You know, I think we all have you, Carrie, you know.
Oh yeah, I can.
Relationship.
Yeah, 100%.
I know you can speak to that too. Like the relationship's gone down, and it's really a conditioned mindset that we have to become aware of, that we're conditioned to think like this. And this is the default in our society. However, there is another way. We can work less and earn more, and it's a choice that we have to make for ourselves, and we can do that. We're capable of doing that.
Yeah, well, and that, to your point, that's why I even birthed the Happy Hustle, because, you know, it was scratching my own itch first, because I was burnout as this tech entrepreneur in New York City with Grant, my brother and business partner and best friend. Man, we were grinding our damn face off. And, you know, the Happy Hustlers out there have heard this, but that burnout led me to this exploration of a better way. And, you know, that's what the 10 alignments is all about. That's what this book is all about, is these 10 different areas of life that I focus on. And it's money's in there. Yeah. Financial abundance is alignment number 6. It's important, but it's not most important. I give equal importance to each of these 10 alignments, but I focus on one at a time. And that's the key here, is while you're at work, you're focused at work. While I'm rocking the mic with Mark, this is my sole focus. I'm giving Mark my 100% attention, and, you know, hopefully he's doing the same. Unless your little cat comes up in the screen. The other alignments, you know, when it's time for my selfless service and volunteering, I'm all there. You know, when we do these, you know, volunteering with the Eagle Mount, they have these adaptive horsemanship training where we help these kids with special needs ride horses. And I love horses. I love helping people. I'm all there. You know, when I'm working out, I focus on my workout and crushing it. And it's like, that's the thing that I was missing when I was struggling so much to just reach profit and success. And I know you can resonate. It's like your sole focus is work. You go home and you're with your wife, or you're with your girlfriend or your boyfriend or husband, and you're thinking about work, you know, and that's what people do. They do it ineffectively because they're, you know, when they're at work, oftentimes they're thinking about their family. And when they're with their family, they're thinking about work, and nothing is getting 100% full focus. And so that was a turning point for me. And I'm really glad you talk about the relationship, and I'll be vulnerable here too. I almost lost my relationship with Steph because I was solely focused on work. Like, we were on the brink of breakup because she was like, all you want to do is talk about work. All you want to do is talk about, you know, your business and this and, you know, growth. But what about us? You know, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs and happy hustlers can probably resonate as well with that. And I know you can, Mark, and you got, you know, 2 beautiful kids now, and, you know, you have your wife and your relationship still intact. But the thing is, it requires constant adjustments, evolutions, pivots. You know, this is what I tell people about, like, achieving this blissful balance in your life. Blissful balance is not a finite destination. You know, it's a never-ending journey. It requires constant assessments and tweaks and pivots. And that's why I take my own medicine every Sunday with my assessment. I go through the 10 questions. Where do I rank in each of these 10 alignments? Where do I need to prioritize change for the week ahead? And that's one of the things that I think has kept me in this flow balanced state, and so I just love that you went there. Now let's dive into.
Hold on a second, Kerry. I just want to give you a shout out as well, because listen, guys, I've known Kerry for a few years now, and Kerry walks the talk. Like Kerry is like, he wants to talk, man. Like he does do the assessment every week. He does live by the stuff that he puts in the Happy Hustle. He does focus on those 10 areas. And I can say from like knowing Kerry personally, it shows up in his life. And I've seen the growth in Kerry over the few years, knowing him, and just become happier, more successful, stronger relationship, all because he does everything he teaches, he actually does. And I just want to give you some respect there, Kerry.
I appreciate that, man. I owe you what we agreed upon prior to this conversation for that shout out. So make sure I send you the PayPal. No but thank you, seriously, man. Well, that's the thing. Like, and I'll be transparent too. Like, there's times where I am not perfect, no question. Like, I break my own boundaries. Oh, I didn't like. It'll be I have a for my unplugged digitally. Alignment number 3 in the soul mapping framework is unplugged digitally. Oftentimes I catch myself with it breaking my own rules with 60 minutes, when I wake up and 60 minutes before bed, I'll check my device. And that's a rule that I set. So I'm definitely not perfect. I don't claim to be the guru or any of that crap. I'm honestly just a reporter of what's been working for me and what I see working for the happy hustlers who actually apply it, and that's what I know you feel the same with Supercharged Entrepreneurs, is like the people who actually apply your 90-day program and go through it, get the results. That's just what happens, because there's no choice but to get the results, because there's a proven and tested system, and I know the happy hustlers out there listening are probably like, damn, I need this. I need Mark's help. I need Mark's team's help. Where can people go to learn more about, Supercharged Entrepreneurs?
Yeah, they can go to our website, Supercharged Entrepreneurs. And when they go there, there's a free training. We offer a free 45-minute training. You can just, opt in, watch the training, and it breaks down the 5 shifts that you need to make in order to knock 20 hours a week off your schedule while increasing revenue. So it breaks down the framework of how you can do this for yourself. And at the end of the training, if you want to speak to someone from my team, one of our coaches, to give you a bit more one-on-one help on how to do, implement this into your life, you have the option to do that. Or you can just take the training, do it on your own. It's all good.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, and we'll have that linked up in the show notes, guys. But I highly recommend watch that training. I mean, these are the 5 steps to actually, earning more and working less. And, if it makes sense for you, if you want to take a step further, have that consultation with, Mark's coaches and see if it's a fit. Like, one of the best things that you can do as a supercharged entrepreneur or supercharged entrepreneur in the making is invest in yourself. And it's single-handedly one of the best investments I've made in myself, or for my life, is hiring coaches, hiring mentors, going to conferences. I'm looking at a couple like real estate deals and a couple like different crypto game moves and stuff like that in my other realms of business. But when it comes down to it, investing in myself and my own growth, my own personal development has always been a top priority. And I think, Mark can resonate with that as one of the catalysts for his journey as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a must.
It is.
Yeah, it's a must. Yeah,
definitely. So tell us, Mark, I want to hear your answer to some of these traditional happy hustle questions that I like to ask my guests. First being health, because I know you've been big into biohacking and optimal performance for years. What would you say is a happy hustle hack? This could be a tip, a tool, a tactic, something that you do to, just optimize your mental health or your physical health. something that you could share with the happy hustlers.
Okay. Well, for for the mental health, there's really two key points. The first one would be to practice gratitude at all times. Got on this pod before we hit record, guys. Kerry asked me how I was doing. So I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing? And he was like, I'm so grateful to be alive, breathing. And I said, thank you for reminding me, because I truly believe that to be free of all suffering in life, sadness, anger, upset, fears, frustration, to be free of all that, I have found and discovered that the path to doing that is by being grateful in every moment. I believe that is the true, I think that's the most, the highest, most spiritual, connected state to live one's life through. Yep. Being grateful in every single moment. Now, my background's positive psychology. They've done a little bit of research on gratitude. And, they did a study that if you wrote 5 things you're grateful for each day, I think they did the study for a week. It was something around, you did the study for a week or 2 weeks. It was a short amount of time. The people who did the gratitude exercise for a week or 2 weeks, the effect of increased happiness and well-being lasted for 6 months. So that's just by writing 5 things down you can be grateful for a day. Now, the great spiritual masters, the enlightened beings on this planet, they've written and spoke about being in prayer every moment. And I digged into what did they mean by being in prayer? They meant being grateful, thanking the divine, thanking the universe, just being thankful in every single moment. I believe that puts you on such a high vibration, just by being grateful every moment.
Yeah, man. So well said. I write my attitude of gratitude, my list out every single day, 5 to 10 things that I'm grateful for, usually just in that moment. Today, I was sitting in front of the fire. I said, the fire, sunshine and snow. I was looking out the window. It could be little things. It could be big things. It can be your fingers. I just told this story recently, but my dad chopped one of his fingers off, because he was sawing and he made a mistake. He didn't put the wood down and he chopped his freaking middle finger off. And I'm like, I'm grateful for my fingers, and it's like, you can be grateful for anything. And the attitude of gratitude is something that I truly I hate that word. I practice every day. And that's, as Mark mentioned, but that's one of my things. Every single day, I get asked, how are you? In some way, someone will ask you that today too, and you have a conscious choice to make in that moment. And this is something I do with my team. They do not get a get out of jail free card when it comes to this question. Every single team meeting, I ask them, how are you? And they have to give me a grateful response of more than just good or fine, because I think we are training our subconscious each and every day with this response. And so that's why I seriously say, and Mark will testament, it's a beautiful day and I'm breathing, I'm feeling blessed. And that's my go-to. I train my subconscious, but I honestly feel that as well. And so I urge each and every happy hustler out there listening, and Mark, to answer the question, how are you? And Mark, I'm going to ask, how are you? And I want to hear how you're doing.
I'm fantastic. I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to be on your show. Grateful to see you, Kerry. It's been a few weeks, and I'm super grateful to be speaking to your audience here, your happy hustlers, and the book. So grateful I saw the book.
Yeah, well, I'll get you a copy soon, brother. We'll get that shipped
out. Hell yeah.
But that's the thing, man. It's like, I really do urge all the happy hustlers to change the response to that question, because 9 times out of 10, if I'm a betting man, I'm gonna say you or someone is gonna say good or fine. Or if it's not good or fine, you probably don't want to hear about it anyway, because it's probably going to be negative. And it's like, no one wants that vibe, near them. So change your response and practice gratitude. That's a great happy hustle hack for health. Now let's talk about money, because I do love to talk about money. I think money is super important to talk about how to grow that financial abundance. And I'm curious, Mark, do you have a tip, a tool, a tactic, something that you've done in regards to money that you can share with the happy hustlers?
Man, we could do a whole podcast on my relationship to money.
Yeah.
And the stuff I've done. Yeah. Easy to do a whole podcast. Yeah. I grew up in like a lower middle class household in England. So like my parents, like my mum ended up being the biggest breadwinner in our family towards the end of her career. And she was making like, I think the equivalent to $30 an hour in a government job, which was like, the most that my parents made. And I remember becoming a personal trainer, and the going rate where I grew up in like Manchester for a personal trainer at the time was about £40 an hour. And I had the biggest issues asking for £40 an hour. As knowing that my mum at the peak of her career made £30, and like, put it in context, guys, £30 an hour is like $35 an hour, and £40 an hour is like, less than $50 for an hour. Like, it's not big money we're talking here.
Yeah.
And oh man, I've gone on a whole journey of neuro-linguistic programming, hypnotherapy, visualization techniques I've used. So I've done a lot, and I'm still doing it actually. Bob Proctor is one of my mentors I like to listen to. I really do believe in the law of attraction and manifestation. I listen to what's it called? John Assaraf. He's got a program called Winning the Game of Money, which is a hypnotherapy program. So I'm still doing all this stuff, and I'm doing all this stuff because it works. Yeah. It's like, I mean, I've asked for a lot more than £40 an hour now. Whatever. Like, I'm used to asking for a lot more money than that, and no problems anymore.
Yeah.
But it took me actively working on my mindset. It took me actively working on my mindset. Yeah. And I will give you, and I'm just talking around a lot of things and not giving you too many details. I will give you the fastest way to increase your income that I've found. Please. And that is to hang out with people who are making a lot more money than you.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that is. I mean, because it's all relative, like someone could think $100 dinner is expensive, and then you go out to eat for $1,000. You're like, oh, that was expensive. And then you go out to eat for $10,000, and you're like, that was expensive. And then my brother just went out to eat with the guy who dropped like $100K at a dinner for like 6, and he's a billionaire in Switzerland. And it's like, okay, broke that paradigm. You know what I mean? It's like, so it's all relative when it comes to money, but I do think it's so important to associate yourself with high net worth earning individuals if that's who you want to be, even if it's just right now, someone from your family or a friend. And even if you just are doing your best to add value to them, maybe even in like a mentee role, not as necessarily an equal, find a way to add value to get in those circles. And then I just think it's really important, Mark, to commend you on your relationship with money and that constant evolution and growth, because I think a lot of people struggle with that. They don't charge what they're technically worth. There's that fear involved. And, I've been there as well. Like, I think it's so, I'm still there in some capacities. I think like everyone, there's levels to the game,
There's levels to the game. That's why I'm still doing it. There's levels.
Yeah. And so I just think it's one of those things where don't sleep on your money relationship, folk. Get out there and be diligent with your practice of changing your abundance mindset. One of the things that I did that I can honestly look back on my financial journey and I can look at it as the catalyst for my abundance and the trajectory that I'm on now is increasing my financial literacy. I diligently made a choice. Instead of reading, personal growth books, I read financial abundance books. I read Tax-Free Wealth by Tom Wheelwright, a real page burner, not really, but it's like how to save money on taxes. Like, that's a great
I bought that on your recommendation.
Yeah,
here in the back over here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a great book. And it's like, that conscious choice, reading those type of books, following those people, like on Sundays, I have a ritual of just watching financial YouTube videos. Still, I watch at least one, like Robert Kiyosaki or one of these, George Gammon, or like a crypto guy, Andre Jick. Now I like to watch some of his, but like there's really good content out there. And if you can do one thing to increase your abundance right now, it's just increase your financial literacy, and we all have the power with our devices right next to us to become more financially literate. So I love that you talked about that, and it's really important. Now let's talk about spirituality.
Yeah.
You alluded to your meditation practice. You are welcome to use that as well for this happy hustle hack, or if you want to share a different one. But I want to hear something that you do in regards to spirituality, that you can share with the happy hustlers.
Oh man. So I've had great breakthroughs in spirituality recently, last few weeks.
Nice.
And just a bit of context to your listeners. So I grew up Catholic, and then when I went to college 18, I'd like completely abandoned all of that. I was like, oh, this is BS, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was the guy that when my friend first introduced my friend Carl Riley, shout out to Carl Riley, he lives in Leeds now, UK. I was going for a really rough time in my life. I was totally off the rails. I was into a lot of bad stuff, a lot of bad stuff I shouldn't have been into.
I know, your story is pretty crazy.
Yeah, Carrie knows. And, I made a choice to move away from that. And just soon after I made that choice to move away, and I physically moved cities to get out of who I was hanging out with, just the energy I was around, what I was up to. I physically moved out, and my friend Carl Riley said to me, "Hey man, I've been listening to this Tony Robbins stuff. I got this CD. I think you'll like it. Check it out." So I was like, "All right, cool." So I'd listened to Tony, thought it was great stuff. And then whenever Tony Robbins started talking about spirituality, I was like, skip, fast forward. Fast forward, skip.
Now look at you, forcing others to do hour meditations.
Yeah. I was like, skip
started from the bottom, now we here.
Yeah. I'd literally skip it to get to like let's talk about money again, Tony. He was cool when you were talking about money. Let's skip this spirituality BS.
Well, it's all related though. You're so right.
It is all related. So yeah, recently, man, I've really gone to like praying a lot more, and and being grateful for everything, but not just saying, oh, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for this. The shift that I've made recently, which has made a tremendous difference in my life, and like, guys, this is a new thing. I wasn't doing this before. I was all about optimization and like, meditating because it helps you optimize and focus. The shift that I've made is that when I'm saying I'm grateful, I'm saying I'm grateful to you, God. I'm grateful to you, Lord. Yep. Thank you, Lord, for this. Thank you, Lord. I am here for you, Lord. Please, shine your love through me. Please do your work through me.
Oh, so good.
And like, I really want to emphasize that I haven't really grown up I haven't been like a Christian in the sense, that's a very Christian thing to do. And that's just not what I've been about. I've just been like, meditate, interested in Christianity, other things. I'm just saying that for me, I have recently made that shift to thanking Lord and asking God to, do his work through me. Mm-hmm. And that language would never resonate with me before. I've just been doing it. And I have felt a shift. I have felt a shift in the levels of peace I'm feeling. I've felt a shift in the levels of joy I'm feeling. I've felt a shift. I've seen a shift in how I interact with my wife. I've seen a shift of how I interact with my children. Much more relaxed, much more loving, much more the type of person I want to be.
Yep.
By making the shift of being grateful to God and praying to God. So
love that.
I must,
and
yeah.
No, it's so good, man. And I echo that because I'm a big believer in God and a higher power. And, my dad technically is Catholic. My mom's Jewish. I'm like a spiritual mutt, or religious mutt per se, but I so believe in a higher power. And I draw wisdom from the Taoist teachings and my master Chen. And I do, draw wisdom from every religion. And one of the things that I love to do, and I really am diligent about when I especially feel out of balance, is pray. And I pray over every meal. And I think, whenever I go hunting, I pray over the animal's body for the nourishment. I pray over even my plate if I bought fish out, from seafood, like for this life that was given. But I also am a conduit of the Lord's message through me. And I feel passionate about sharing that gift that He's given me. And I think when you give that glory to God, and I know I sound woo woo, but that's the truth. Like you believe in something higher than yourself, brother. Oh man, is that a tear?
Yeah, it's tear, man. I'm tearing of joy.
I love you, man.
It's a tear of joy,
dude.
Yeah, I mean, this is real talk. This is real talk.
It is.
It's real talk.
Well, and that's the thing when you give, yourself grace, first of all, for your mistakes, and when you give yourself that opportunity to be imperfectly perfect, and you then give that glory to a higher power, and you just, I always ask for strength, but I also ask to share God's message through me and allow me to be that conduit. And it really is when you can get outside of yourself and you practice that service over self mindset, like stuff happens, like shifts happen. And, Mark's a testament to it. I'm a testament to it. We're just on our path doing the best we can, but, we do, and you look at it like almost all of the high performers that Mark and I probably know, and as well, listening out there, have a belief in a higher power. Right. And that's no coincidence. You know what I mean? Like you look at like a boxer who just knocks out their opponent. Most of the time it's glory to God. You look at a football player, or, a really smart individual who just won a chess match. Like these high performers are giving glory to God in a higher power. And so I just, it's an important topic. And I love that you went there, Mark. And, one thing I want to tell you, Mark, in the intro, I prefaced this podcast as you, Mark, being one of the most balanced individuals I know when it comes to the masculine and the feminine energy, because here you are, this strong diesel, huge, like man's man, and then you can cry on command when it feels right, with vulnerability. And it's so beautiful to see someone like that. And I've commended you on that in the past in the wilderness in Montana, but it is such a beautiful trait, man. I urge more men to be more vulnerable and to tap into their feminine side, as I'm learning myself, growing up with a very hardened dictator-esque father. I was taught to show no weakness ever. And it didn't come to him unless I'm bleeding, to the point where I might die or lose a limb, and it's just, I think a lot of people can benefit from tapping into that feminine and masculine energy.
Thanks, Gary. You know what? Somebody else said that to me recently. They're like, dude, you're like the most feminine, hardcore dude I've ever met. So like, look, I don't mean to offend you. I mean, it's like a great thing. Like, I was like, I'll take that. Thank you. And it makes me laugh when you're talking about your dad. Yeah, I don't know if you guys know this, but Kerry's dad was sent Kerry and his brother Grant out into the wilderness when you were how old, Kerry?
Oh, we were like 6 and 8. 6
and 8 years old into the world. And I mean, like, when I say the wilderness, I mean a wilderness of grown men. 2 grown men going out to the wilderness who didn't know what they were doing would be in serious trouble. like serious trouble, and he'd go out for a couple of weeks, right? Just shoot.
Well, when we were like early teens, when we would go out for a couple weeks. But
Okay.
yeah, we would go on day trips and overnight trips. Nothing like since when we were younger. I want to be, keep it real here. But yeah, it does harden you, no question. Yeah.
It's what birthed the Montana mastermind.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that. For all the happy hustlers out there, who have heard me talk about it, I want to share the perspective of someone who's actually went on it. And I want to hear just your overall take on the epic camping adventure, this Montana mastermind. Just give us, the happy hustlers out there, like your overall perspective on the trip.
Well, I loved it. It was an opportunity to go out in the wilderness for how many days did you go out? 4 or 5?
Yeah, we were in the woods for 4. It was 4 nights, 5 days.
4 nights, 5 days. So yeah, managed to get out there, met some great new friends, inspiring people, entrepreneurs. Everybody had something awesome to share. So we learned all different things from, survival skills. We had Rome come out with Rome's taught breathing exercises. Went fishing. We learned how to fly fish, which was awesome. We learned from Ian Stanley. He did some visualizations on money meditations and so forth. Honestly, it was just a great time reconnecting with some awesome guys in the woods where we could just all disconnect, relax, enjoy nature, go fishing, eat amazing food, and have fun going on hiking adventures. It was just a real great decompression, as well as picking up new friends and new skills. That's what I got for it.
Yeah, and one of my favorite parts about having Mark on the trip, and this might come off weird now, but we could not get Mark to put clothes on. This guy who just walked around the wilderness naked. It was so funny. We were laughing so hard.
I'll speak to that.
We would do drone shots, and we'd be like, Mark, do you want to put your dick away, or you going to keep it out for this shot? Because we had a videographer. And he's like, no, I'm good. So if you look at some of them, even the footage on the carryjack.com/Montana video, you could see Mark like naked in the corner of some of these shots. It's so funny. So Mark, man, was a great takeaway of that.
Yeah, keeping it real. I'm where I'm from in Europe, people get naked more. Notice in America, there's less male nakedness. I was kind of making a point, dude, you can't be naked in the wilderness. Come on. Yeah.
It's awesome. It was hilarious.
Your dad's with me.
Oh yeah.
Your dad's all about it too.
Hey, I'm about it too. I'm about it too. So tell people, just if you had to sum it off to your favorite part, what would you say that was?
That's really tough to say.
Or a highlight.
Probably a highlight would be, probably when we went on that short hike that wasn't a short hike. That short 20-minute hike that we ended up going the wrong way. It was not a short 20-minute hike.
3 hours of scaling boulders.
3 hours of scaling boulders, and then it's started raining, and then we were concerned about bears because we saw fresh bear poop all over the place. So probably that was fun.
I love it, man. And just one last question while I got you. What would you say to someone who potentially is on the fence about attending the Montana Mastermind Epic Camping Adventure?
Get off the fence and go. Yeah, just get off the fence. No, I really think that there's no downside to doing events like this. There really isn't any downside. Sure, all right, you're going to take some time away from your business. You're going to get some time away from your normal grind. Good. You need that because you don't do it enough. You don't do it enough. You're not doing enough. So take the time out from your business, reconnect, you get fresh ideas anyway, you get to relax, recover, and meet some great people, and you can do some great business with the people. Since that mastermind, I've been connecting with some of the members, and we taught business, got some great ideas from them.
Yeah.
And some of them we're looking to do some more business with. Yeah. And I've made some great friendships.
Exactly, man. That's what's cool about it too. I know multiple people from the first 2021 summer trip have already done business together. Lots of deals have been done, and that's where stuff happens too. I just, thank you Mark for that live testimonial. I appreciate it. But it is so true. It's like, I'll count you later. Don't you worry. Add it to your PayPal tab. But no, it's so true. It's like, you have to get out of your bubble when you're an entrepreneur and connect with other like-minded, people to just expand your awareness of what's really taking place out there in this, journey called life, and also just building that network of support. And that's what it's all about too. Just getting out of your bubble and getting fresh ideas and being in beautiful Mother Nature. So if you guys are curious, carriejack.com/Montana, shameless plug. Get yourself an application. It's not for everyone. There is a couple strict tests, one being the beer test. You actually have to pass it in order to come, meaning I actually have to want to get a beer with you, which is very important. Taking people in the wilderness that I actually want to go with, so, and you actually have to be making over 6 figs. So there's a couple stipulations, but if you pass, check it out and apply today. Now, Mark, I do want to run you through the rapid fire round. And this is just where I ask you random questions and you answer honestly. First thing that comes to mind. Are you ready?
All right, better be.
Okay, favorite food, go.
Indian food.
Favorite movie?
Rocky.
Favorite book?
Principles.
Favorite biohack?
Sauna.
Best business advice?
Go for it.
What's your spirit animal?
Oh, I did this the other day. I did one of the cards. Shoot, what did I?
Must have really resonated.
Yeah. It was. You know what? There's this deck of cards which is like your spirit animal card, and you pull them out. And my friend did past, present, and future. And the past I remember was an elk, which meant kind of like a stable family man. He was like, strong, protective, reliable. Mm-hmm. And I believe my present was an oyster, which means like you've got to open up your shell to share your gifts. Oh, that's your present. Yeah. So I can't remember what the future was, but I do remember. So my favorite spirit animal is the oyster.
That's hilarious. I love it. That's great, man. 3 things you're most grateful for right now.
Oh, definitely this call with you, Carrie. Super grateful for that. I'm also grateful that my wife's pregnant. We're expecting our 3rd child in February. Yeah,
congrats,
a
man.
girl.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, so I'm super grateful for that. And I'm just extremely grateful that I'm alive, that my heart is beating right now. I'm breathing. Mm-hmm. I'm here in this physical plane for the time being.
Yeah, man.
I'm grateful for that too.
Love those. Now, what was your first hustle? First thing you did for money?
The first thing I did for money, which got shut down almost immediately, is when I was 4 years old, we had a cherry tree in our backyard. So I grabbed some cherries. I went out and I tried to sell some cherries on the street. And the first guy who walked past told me that I can't sell cherries on the street because you need a license to go back home. So I didn't make any money from, seriously, I remember that being 4 years old. Then my first hustle, you like this one. This is pretty, it wasn't really my hustle. It was actually my friend's hustle. I'm going to give him a shout out, Dave. Dave Kelly, back in Manchester, England, my buddy Dave. This is genius, man. So when I was it'd be high school, so 16, 17, Dave would buy a bunch of newspapers from the newsagents, like racks of them. Mm-hmm. all around the holidays, like the summer holidays and so on, just when the theme parks were putting the coupons in there. So he would buy them when the theme parks were doing like a buy one, get one free on the tickets, or, $10 off your coupon. And then he'd get his little brothers to cut out all the coupons. And then we'd take all the coupons, drive to the local theme park, which was a couple of hours away. We'd drive out there, and then we start selling the coupons in the parking lots.
Nice.
And we'd make a typical day, we'd make £300. So like $400 in a typical day. And this is like high schoolers. And it was Dave's hustle. So we'd go out, sell, make money there. So that was the first hustle. And then after,
I like it. That counts. That was a rapid fire round question mark.
Yeah,
Don't you forget. All right. Rapid.
Yeah. Okay. Rapid. Got it. Keyword rapid.
Keyword here. All right. And if you had a billboard for the world to see with your last piece of content, what's that billboard reading?
Oh, it's got to be love.
Yeah.
It's got to be love.
Crush that rapid fire round, Mark. Brother, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge you, man, for sharing your love, your light, your wisdom, man. I so appreciate you and just how you show up in the world and, sharing that masculine and that feminine energy and being an example of what's possible. For me and for others, it's so beautiful. And I'm excited for that oyster to just release that pearl and share it with the world even more than you already are. So thank you, brother, for just coming on.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah. Now, one last time, share the link where people can go to learn more about Supercharged Entrepreneurs, and then share any final words before I ask you the last question.
Okay, yes, you can go to website superchargedentrepreneurs.com. I know entrepreneurs sometimes difficult to spell, so just Google it or pop up. Go to Kerry's got a link to go there. There's free training. There's links all over. You can go ahead and watch the free training on how to knock 20 hours a week off your schedule while increasing your revenue in less than 90 days. So that's it. And then, did you ask me something else, or did you say there was one more?
Any final words that you want to say before I ask you the last question?
Any final words is be grateful. Be grateful.
Love it, brother. Now, Mark, final question. What does happy hustling mean to you?
Happy hustling means working towards your goals while being happy and grateful while you do it.
Mic drop. Mark Dhamma, everyone. Thanks for watching and listening. We are out. Peace and love.